Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe in Lagos. Austin will join me shortly on the program. Okay, Austin is here. Austin, how you doing?
What a greetings to you, Cecilia. Good to be on the show. Still an action-packed world of sports. Five-star Super Falcons. Cecilia, on Tuesday, we're talking about this team. Yes, I raised some concerns, but I was confident they can get the job done against Cape Verde. What a way to start that AFCON qualifier. Also on the show tonight, reactions coming from the UEFA Champions League. What a story. Manchester United and Galatasaray gave us what can be termed a classic in the UEFA Champions League. And of course, on Tuesday, remember before I left, I was thinking Leipzig was going to give us a shocker. But what a comeback from Pep Guardiola's team. Champions stuff. They went on to win that game by 3-2. We'll talk about that and many more on the show tonight, Cecilia.
Obviously, so much more to talk about on the show, especially the record-breaking night of the UEFA Champions League. Sergio Ramos, yes, Sevilla is out, but that 10,000th goal that he scored for Champions League, it's a big one because that's the record. The first person who scored the very first goal in Champions League happens to be a Nigerian, Daniel Amokachi. We still remember that for Club Brugge at that time. Of course, the record-breaking also for Jude Bellingham becoming the first player for Real Madrid to score in each of the first 4 starts in the UEFA Champions League. So many records last night. But then, not just the Champions League, we'll be taking a review. Also, we'll look at the games that are currently going on in the Europa League. And of course, at home right here, Dana's Ladies happens to be the big boogie team, so to speak. They're not playing like they're making their debut in the women's premiership. They're playing as if they've been here. And so we'll talk about them and also Nasara Amazons who are topping their group. And trust us, we'll talk about the new innovation that CAF is trying to do to promote league football in Africa. Talking about the African CAF club, the African Club Association that they are forming. You have a Nigerian in the board. Yes, that's the story we'll be celebrating tonight. But then we're not just alone on the program. Austin, of course, it's a Thursday, and Bolu Omoneyi is right here in the studio. Bolu, it's good to have you.
Yeah, good to be again. Okay, let me start like this. I say it every time. What a man can do, a woman can do better. If you do not believe that phrase, follow Nigerian sport, especially our football. You believe that Super Falcons, like Austin Riley said, 5-star performance from them. And the UEFA Champions League. I saw Chelsea fans bantering United yesterday that Chelsea are not there, but Chelsea still sent their pack and talking about Kai Havertz. It was a game of tactics, openness, everything. The UEFA Champions League is the most exciting club competition for a reason. And we suspect, you talked about the record. Arsenal even set the record as well. First English team to score 5 goals in the first half of the Champions League. Real Madrid 100%. Same thing with Man City. It's just been beauty all through, and it's unfortunate that our cricket team couldn't make it to the ICC T20. But again, I think I'm mourning about those not making it Super Falcons, except maybe even 11 Cecilias will qualify, so the leading 5. So I'm excited for the Falcons. Let's see what happens when they get to qualify for the tournament proper, and then maybe they can pick their 12th, because the 2 they removed. Me, I'm still counting it. So for me, Nigeria have 11 AFCON titles.
Oh, okay. All right. You know, let's just start off with what is like. Let's break it down, talking about the Africa Club Association that was formed today. And the whole idea of this particular association is to bring clubs together across Africa in terms of marketing, in terms of sponsorship. So there's a whole lot going on. We'll just run through what it's like and talking about the key issue on the launch that was done earlier today. Now, these are the key points of the African Club Association. You have the headquarters will be in Nairobi in Kenya. Also, you have 3 spots that's been reserved for women. They will fill in that spot. The president is expected to be an automatic, this president is expected to have an automatic place on the CAF executive board once the statutes are amended to legalize this. And also, you have the president of Tanzania Young Africans Club has been elected as the president, and the marketing director of South Africa's Kaizer Chiefs is the first vice president, and the second vice president happened to be Paul Bassi, who is the chairman of Aqua United. So this is what it is for these key points, things we really need to understand concerning this new club. But this is something big. This is something huge that, you know, CAF is trying to do. So, Bolu, let's get into this, but we'll bring Austin into it. Now, what are the key factors? Key factors is to actually protect and promote, you know, interest of African football clubs, which is a big one. Now, when you're having something like that, and not just that, they want to make it more commercially viable, more competitive, profitable in terms of referees, match commissioners, VAR operators, everything more credible. And then you now have leagues who don't really have, maybe that money support will also coming from there. They also want to build partnerships, sponsorship deals, and of course to also develop African youth talents. So it's a whole lot going on, for this African Clubs Association. The objective, it's something that is really remarkable. This should have been done like some time ago, right?
Three key things are in it for me. One, the development of the youth games. It's a very key factor. It's one thing we're lacking in Africa. People tell you it's impossible to kill or curb age cheat in Africa. I tell them it's very possible if you work towards it. Then the marketing part of it and the sponsorship. For example, let's come home. The NPFL signed a deal with StarTimes for about, I think it's about 1 point something billion naira. That's roughly over $1 million. South African League have a deal of over $17 million with their sponsor. Mamelodi Sundowns are worth about $13 million. That's more than every club in Nigeria. Both club, academy, NNL, NL, women's, everything combined. So if everyone comes together to bring heads together, it means, yes, it's not that automatically NPFL will jump to the same level with those clubs. No. But it means we can share resources, we can share ideas together. Now we have minus the CAF Champions League, minus CAF Confederations Cup, there's also an African Football League separate. Yes, it's probably for the elites, but if all these plans come together, it means everyone. I love the fact that a Paul Bassi is part of it, a Nigerian who's been in the business for a very long time. So everyone coming together let me not say, they should, with the names of people in the board, you are expected to have a great positivity. This time around, I don't want to say anything bad. I don't hope anything goes wrong. It means you can't tell us Nigerians are not there. The headquarters is not there, they will cheat us. No. The idea is for clubs to come together, achieve great success. There's nothing stopping Africa from competing. Even if you can't compete in Europe, at least compete with South America. Compete with some other obscure. I believe Europe are the only ones in terms of numbers, everything. Yeah. But we have the talent in Africa. Why are we not competing at that stage? If this thing should become a success, it means African football may end up growing beyond what we think it is right now. Yeah,
Austin, I think Motsepe is doing a good job here, especially the highlights, of the objective of this African Clubs Association. If you look at the fifth one, to develop young African youth talents, academies for boys and also for girls, and also to improve the quality of African club football to be world class.
It's sweet, This is 360 degrees branding that I always talk about, and I'm glad that someone with a business mind, someone that is results oriented, is leading the Confederation of African Football, and he is saying one message: if we sell African football properly, you must buy it. And this is what they're trying to do with all of these initiatives that are coming up. This is another big milestone for African League football. Now check what they're trying to do. They're trying to build business around the clubs. Let me tell you why Europe is doing well. For instance, if the Netherlands, they are playing football and you don't respect them, you cannot disrespect their league. The Dutch Eredivisie, it's a respected league all over the world. Check when Italy won't be doing so well as a national team football, but you're talking about the Italian Serie A. When did England win the World Cup last? But you dare not disrespect the Premier League. Take it down to France. Go to even Belgium. Go to Portugal. People have seen that if you make the clubs center of attraction, if they are strategically positioned, it will rub off. Not just on the country, but the region. Now see where they put the headquarters, in Kenya. Yeah. That's where we're going next in terms of developing football in Africa. That region. Was it not them that won the to host the AFCON after the last one? It's strategic. That's what Motsepe is doing. Motsepe is saying that, look at the objectives that we're trying to achieve with this African Clubs Association, and tell us ways that we can sell African football. Nigeria, you are a powerhouse in Africa. What can you do with your clubs? You've got Eimba with rich history. You've got Rivers United from the oil-rich region. You've got Bendel Insurance with rich history and from the South. You've got Shooting Stars of Ibadan, fantastic history. You've got Rangers. Obasi, come. How can we use Nigeria to develop club football in Africa? Let's go to what they are doing in small TP Mazembe and Congo DR. When the time we were talking about what Congo DR was doing with football, we were talking TP Mazembe.
Yeah.
What is Tanzania doing with football in Africa? But we've been shouting Simba. That means there's business in there, and that's what Mosepe and his team, they are digging, they are checking for different avenues that they can use to develop football in Africa. And I love it so much. When you were reading the key points on the African Club Association and the objectives, every one of them resonates with just one thing: position African football to be liable for business, and it will grow. And I hope that this really works. With this association now, clubs will say they need to be serious, players will say they need to do their bits. We will not treat club football like the way we see it in some African countries. Nobody will go and try to be bribing referee or beat up referee if the officiating doesn't go their way. We will not see fans misbehave, because now there is an association watching over it. There is an association that wants to sell it. There's an association that will hold people responsible and accountable when we don't do the right things. To say that this is good for African football, and I hope that it actually, turns out successful.
Yeah, I hope that will happen. Let's just quickly run through the objectives again, because Austin just mentioned something that had to do with, concerning respecting referees. That's one of the key issues here. We just run through the objectives of the African Clubs Associations, what they've decided to come up with now to protect and promote the interests of African football clubs, and also to ensure that African football clubs are commercially viable, globally competitive and profitable, and also to ensure that referees, match commissioners and VAR operators are respected, and not just that, they should be credible and independent and also world class. Another point raised is to also build a partnership with sponsors, the private sector and government to build stadiums that comply with CAF and FIFA standards and other football infrastructure and facilities in each of the 54 CAF member associations. That's another angle we will be looking at, because most teams that were actually playing the CAF, the qualifiers for the World Cup had to play in Morocco or some other countries because they could not find any stadium in their home ground. So that's another issue we'll be looking at. And the fifth one is to develop African young talent academies for boys and girls, and also to improve the quality of African club football to be world class. Yes, that's another key. That's why I love what they decided to come up with the secondary schools football. I mean, Nigeria competed and they finished third, which was a good one. We'll be waiting for Nigeria to actually key into this. And of course, they started in this year's edition. Now, that other aspect, number 4, which has to do with stadiums. I mean, we were appalled by the fact that if you look at the stadiums across Africa, I think 19 of them, they can't even play games at home. I mean, that's something that you look at and you're like, what is happening? What happens to this country? Facilities, should we be discussing this in 2023?
Even the 35 that have it, probably about half or more of them are probably just places that are at least better. I'm sure Austin is in the UK, and Austin can probably boldly tell you that secondary schools in the UK have better stadiums than we have in Nigeria.
Okay, all right.
There are lots of, I don't think it's impossible
You're going
to
far.
do. Well, it's what it is. Secondary schools have standard facilities. Here we talk about Nigeria's last qualifiers against Zimbabwe. Where did we play? They couldn't play in their country for different reasons. Yeah.
Rivers
United are not playing their CAF tournaments at home. They are playing in Uyo. So
and when was that stadium built?
These things put together. That's why I agree with Austin that if these things turns out to be a success, it's going to be a win-win for everybody, every federation in Africa. At least I'm sure of Nigeria. Nigeria probably, if not 1, 2, 3, at least I don't think you can push out Nigeria among the top 5 or top 10 of the leading nations in terms of African football. And obviously, when things start dropping from the top, the elite, no matter how you look at it, the elite will benefit from. So I hope this works out. But for it to work out, you have to key into it, not participate once and disappear. Not that, oh, the next secondary school games, why are we not going? There's no money. I tell you, growing up, I know the things I saw and I heard about the Principal's Cup. Now, If there's principals come, maybe it's John. I know the things I saw and heard about the NPFL. Back then for Super Eagles, for example, how many times do you see foreign based in the team? It's because we have a growing strong league. I believe this should be a challenge to everybody, even in Nigeria. For you to be a part of this, you have to do these things right, and sure we'll get it right.
Develop African youth talent. That's a big one. Austin, maybe we should leave this topic for another day, or do you want to chip in? Because he just mentioned that some facilities in the UK, secondary school pitches are better than some that you have in Africa. He said Nigeria or Africa.
No, Cecilia. I mean, you know, Bolu is saying nothing but the truth. But when he was doing that, I was saying off your mic. off your mic, don't go there now, you know, because we just want to celebrate the birth of the African Clubs Association. The objective is good, you know, and they mean well for football in Africa. But yes, I totally agree. We must start doing the basics. Infrastructure development is very, very important, you know. And until we understand that, not when you hear a state build a good stadium and we are celebrating thinking it will develop football or sports in that state, but the state government, they did that stadium so they can have political rallies. They know some of them. That's why they do the stadium, so that they can go and hold church crusade or something there.
Okay.
Misplaced priorities. We should be focus driven. We should be results oriented. This thing is long-term planning. Even the Gospel Akpabio International Stadium, I've told people in Akwa Ibom, you can't, it's like driving a car and you don't maintain your car. One day on the highway, it will stop. Maintenance is the issue here. We've got loads of stadiums, but maintenance is a big problem. I've done reports upon reports. I'm sure if I get back to Nigeria tomorrow, I'll continue where I stopped with infrastructure development reports. And nobody sees it as something that is really important. That's the first place to start. And I'm sure the African Clubs Association, they will also make that a priority and see ways that we can focus on infrastructure development in Africa. Cecilia, I'll give it to you. I know you are champion on the beat. You want to talk about the Super Falcons? Let's go.
Yeah, 5-star Super Falcons. Yes, that's what they did in Abuja today. Now, you know, when the list, you know, the whole list of players not wanting to play and all that and everything, players pulling out, the tone of that message or something. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I mean, we have a Super Falcons squad that you look at. I love what the coach said, you know, before this game, and said, no matter who's on the pitch, we are Super Falcons, and you have the players. You can carry last year's or even the current under-20 team that are planning to go to Colombia next year, and then they'll play against Cape Verde. There's a possibility, or even they will beat this Cape Verde as much as 3-0 because of the quality we have. So we don't have to rely on all the players, especially when these players are injured. They're struggling. They're nursing one or two, you know, injuries that they need to be really fit and be 100% ready to play for the team. I mean, you have girls that can do the job, and they delivered 5 goals to nothing, and that is how you beat a team on home soil before you go away.
And it should have been more. When I saw that statement, I closed my eyes for the Super Eagles. Like, this is the same statement we should have said about Lesotho and Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. The Falcons are probably coming back to what we know the Super Falcons to be. At least, even if you are not scoring much away, maybe 1-0. At home, let people know that this is a fortress. Let anyone who wants to come and play at home in Abuja know that, men, we are going to a place where let's go. But 5 goals in the first half, 3-0 already. You know something is coming at you. You know you are, okay, well, this one is not here to joke. And I like that players who got to start, for example, Gits Monday, Uche Nakano, I never knew what those guys did around the World Cup. They just never get the chance to start for the team. At least Kano started the few games at the World Cup. So I like that both of them, they are hungry. They got to the game. They got goals for themselves. Monday got 1, and Uche Nakano got 2. This is the Super Falcons we want to see. I think it's like a new beginning. Obviously, when it's time for the AFCON, 1 or 2 more senior players will join them, probably the likes of Asisa and Co. But at least let everyone know that if A is not there, B can do, if not the same thing, almost the same thing. If B is not available, put in C. Let's put the fear factor of the Super Falcons. And I like that Cape Verde got 5. We don't need to score 5 away from home. Just maybe even 1-1, you are through. But at least that fear factor is, if you start scoring like this, everyone will start talking about the Super Falcons again. Of
Nigeria, that's the way it is. Austin, I mean, when they started the game, as he mentioned, Uche Nakano, 7 minutes into the game, she already scored. He had, before she scored a second, which was at the break, and Monday Gift in between. And second half, Esther Koronko, she had to come in. Monday Gift was out, and she scored the first goal, 66th minute, the second one, 77th minute, and that was it, 5-0. Clean, dominant display from the Super Falcons. So second leg is going to be on Tuesday against Cape Verde, hosting, as he mentioned here, 1-0. But the way they are hungry and the way they want to prove themselves shows that they may not want to just score one. But let's go on a break. When we come back, Austin will chip in on this one. Austin, it was a show that obviously you enjoyed watching from the Super Falcons of Nigeria this evening in Abuja, right?
Cecilia, no doubt. I always say that the Super Falcons, they represent what football should be at the moment in Nigeria, particularly with the way they picked themselves back up right after that disappointing outing at the last Women's Africa Cup of Nations, and how they won our confidence once again, and people are beginning to talk about them. So today, yes, administratively, we still need to do a lot of work. You know, we still need to treat our players with more respect. We still need to put good welfare in place. We still need to give them good infrastructure. They should play football on quality, on international facilities, just as the type they play in their clubs in Europe. And you will see them play the best football. Yes, I'm proud. 5-0 is a good result, you know, to show your superiority. In Africa, it was a rush. When Gift Monday struck the bar, I was like, wow. And then Chenakan went on with the Braves, and then Esther Koronko registered herself again. And it was 5-star performance, you know. No pressure, no tension, no, what are we going to do? Oh, no, a small team has come to Nigeria to upset the Super Falcons. No Asisa Toshola, no problem. No Onomebi, no problem. No Ashley Plumter, no problem. Some of the Fabes that people know, they were not available, no problem. That's how to build a team. Shout out to the technical crew led by Coach Magudu with the little resources and attention he has gotten. He's beginning to do well with this team. Shout out to the players for staying focused. You know, got their eyes on the prize and did the job clean, clear. Beautiful goal scored there. So, Cecilia, yes, I'm always proud. It's just that when things aren't going so well the way we expect them to go, we also have a duty to call it out, you know, and I just hope that the Super Falcons will continue to improve as a team. They will definitely qualify for the Women's Africa Cup of Nations and maybe go to Morocco and regain their title, because they deserve, you know, all of the respect that they are getting, and it's as a result of the quality of play and the results they've been getting lately. So congratulations, Cecilia. I know this sort of stories excite you. We love it too. So congratulations to you and the followers and supporters of women's football in Nigeria. Let's do more.
Yeah, we'll have to do more. And I love Deborah Abiodun. Her performance was world class. Now let's take the postman's reaction from the game.
We're happy the girls put up a good performance, and at the end of it all, we got what we truly deserved. However, that is not to say we are not unmindful of the fact that we still have a second leg to play. But for today, they have done their best, and what we expected of them was what they actually did. But the team is still work in progress. Well, you will, when you have a game plan, you will focus more on what you expect your team to do. Before this game, we were opportune to also analyze the Cape Verdean team. We knew what their strengths were and what their weaknesses were, and that was what we really worked on as part of our own game plan. Like I said earlier, it's still work in progress. We know our standard and Cape Verde is not the same. We are not at par, and they are still trying to carve a name for themselves. And we are also trying to ensure that we get back to the good old days of the Super Falcons that everybody will dread to meet.
It's still work in progress, and we just have to build up from this place where we stopped today. So it's not the best game. We could be better because we know we've set a standard for ourselves. So we just have to keep building up on the standard. It's very important that you have youthful players on the team, and you also have experienced player on the team, because eventually that's what makes the team. Because most of the time when you have so much youth player and there's no experience, sometimes experience beats youthfulness sometimes. So most of the time when we have the couple of those, the youth and the experienced one on the team, it really helps. We can see the experience, the impact of Usina Chiohali on the defense line being a very experienced defender, So it's not easy like that, because she have a wealth of experience, and she could bring in her experience to help the young one on the team. So when we have experienced players like that on the team, it helps the youth players to blend in the team very easily. So then the gap can be bridged very easily. So it's very important we have them. So moving forward.
Experience is needed. When I was listening to Orali before the match, she talked about how, she talked to some of those young players, because I was trying to imagine how will she mark that back for, because you have Rufiat Imoran, coming from under 20. You have Tosin Dime, who is more like as if she's an experienced player, but she joined the team just last year. They have Akudu. Now, you're looking at these players, and Osina Chogale happens to be the most senior person there in the team. Then you go to the midfield, the kind of players you have, Esther, Deborah. Then you go to up front, apart from Uchenna Khan. So you have what she mentioned about having experience and youth, that blend is also what we needed. And I love that progression we're actually having right now. Hopefully we can maintain this.
And I remember their mommy still on the bench, who will even enter later on in the game, Oluoyi as well. So even if the men, talking about the older players in the team, are not playing, the fact that they are there, the motivation, that's probably what, again, Osimhen got wrong. When they told him, should Yama come and encourage the goalkeepers, and I said he doesn't know who Vincent and Yama is. I like that. Even if Harley doesn't get to play, like what she said, you need them. 1, 2, 3 amongst them too. Maybe young players get excited sometimes and go overboard. That's what you need your senior players for, the experienced legs, to calm them down. Okay, take it easy, a step at a time. Incidentally, even some of the experienced in coding the team are still very young. Talking about Rashida Ajibade herself, Gift Monday.
When she's talking about experience, I'm like, when did you join the team?
Well, so that's the advantage of starting early. Just like Asisa, she also played on the 17 twice, on the 20 twice. So she's been in the system for long. Despite being very young, she has lots of experience with the team. So if she's talking to a younger player, I am young, but this is how to do it. This is how you go. So I'm loving the blend. One of the things we've said for years is Super Falcons blending the younger generation. And I think this current under 20 are probably the most blessed generation. Moved almost together from under 17 to under 20. And they are coming into the Falcons one at a time. And now we are probably about almost 8 of them at that age range of 20, 21 and below. So I guess we can say the future of the Falcons is very, very bright.
Very bright. All we need is consistency. And of course, in terms of administration, good welfare, then just have a coach that you know that, okay, long term and not like every time. All right, let's leave the Super Falcons, because I know it can just be a Super Falcons show, because there's so much to talk about in that game. We'll wait for the return leg on Tuesday and also dissect that. All right. Time to talk about the Nigerian Women's Premier League. Now, games decided on Wednesday. On this show yesterday, we talked about most of the results. But this key one that stands out happens to be what happened right here in Lagos. Dana's ladies making their debut. They have, after 3 games, they have 5 points so far. They're yet to lose a game. It's hard, when you see a team like that, even beating Nigerians. The 2 draws end away. National Amazons, who had won their first 2 games, they came to Lagos. They couldn't defeat them. The game ended goalless. Now, when you have a team like this, you think you can actually push over 5, 6 goals. But Nigerian Women's League has grown in a way that you really can't go home right now and override a team like 5, 6 goals to nothing, because everyone is actually strong.
Well, the interesting thing about Danas is that they started like an academy. So like they was, okay, let's get into the women's game, and here they are in the top division of the women's league, and they are yet to concede a single goal in the NWFL this season. It shows how tough Group A is. If they were Group B, they will be in the playoff spot right now, because Delta Queens, who are in the playoff spot, have the same points with the Danas Queens. This is what we want to see, the Cinderella story. Remember what we said about Remo Stars in the FPFL? Now it feels like they are a top gun in the league. We are saying the same thing about Sporting Lagos. We are saying the same about Doma United. Now Danas are telling you, well, if you guys think you are doing this, I can do it in the women's game, and it's key to start well. But any season that has a playoff, it's always very important to have a very good start. See what Bendel Insurance did last season. Despite drawing about 95% of their second half, the fact that they had a great start and they picked up enough points helped them make it to the playoffs. So let's see how far Dana's Queens can go. Like I tell people, any club that play in Lagos, I have a little bias for them. Just like Dana, just like Robo Queens. Hopefully both of them can go very far at the end of the season.
Yeah, taking a point off Nasarawa Amazons, who has won their first 2 games, scoring goals. They couldn't find the net in this game. But Austin, I believe you want to chip in here before we listen to the coaches and also the captains of both teams.
I'm proud of Dana's ladies. You know, Cecilia, I love upsets. For me, my journalism, if there's any form of oddity, I'm going to chase it. For a team that is just coming to the league and they're showing so much resilience, they're giving us a beautiful story. I think 2 seasons ago, it was Niger Rattles that got us talking this way. It's just clear, one thing, that the Nigeria Women's League is getting competitive, that you cannot just look at one team now and just beat them silly. And some might not just know the importance of that goalless draw. Nasarawa Amazons would have consolidated on their position on the Group A table. But now, that 1 point, they were robbed 2 points that would have given them a good place. Danas, now, we look at themselves and say, oh, we're proud of the way we have started this season so far. And they look at the league table and see where they are. They should be proud. You know what? We've got teams like Delta Queens, defending champions, just recording their first win of the season. So shout out to Dana's ladies, Nasarawa Amazons, and all the teams from the NWFL that are giving us reasons to talk about women's football. And the more we talk about it, these players will be encouraged and they will keep giving us good football.
Yeah, that's what they're giving us. Let's get reaction from the game.
It's delightful and encouraging that football is really progressing, the female football. Normally when you come to play debutants like that, you just know that they begin to struggle. But with Dana's Queen, it was a different ball game entirely. Having beaten a team like Nigeria, which is also a highly rated side, then you know when you're coming to play Dana Queens, you don't just go like that. You have to prepare yourself. It's not a struggle thing. You see, goal scoring is an act, and we keep teaching it every day. What determines a game is goal scoring. And this is an act you don't stop teaching players. The good thing is you're creating the chances. If you don't create the chances, you will not miss the goals. That we are creating chances, it means that we're a step further. One step at a time. Where our eyes is bent now on the Super 6. Then our mouth is War 3 for the Continental.
Actually, we give our best in the game. We did what we've learned. You know, we've been through trainings. We've been taught a lot of gameplay, how we should play, how to score, how to bring the square plays and the rest. And we actually implement everything on the field today, just that we're not lucky enough to get the goal. So, but we give our best, and we thank God for that. We don't look down on our opponents. Danas is not a pushover. They are also a team. And so we came out fully. Probably maybe the first half we didn't give our best, but the second half I believe we did what we were supposed to do, just that we're not lucky enough to get the goal. So
it was a good game. We have played 3 matches, 1 away, 2 home game. We draw the first away game. The second game we won. Today game, as you can see, we are playing one of the best in NWPL, but we know they are coming with tough games because they won the 2 games. And they are coming to Danas to play Danas, which in their mind they think we are underdogs, but we prove to them we can do more better in our next game. In the first 5-10 minutes, they were anxious to play. But when we call them, talk to them, they are women where you can play, and you can see they came into the game and they give difference in the game. We try to give our best, we try to score a goal, but the goal didn't come. We have the chance, as we said earlier, we have the chance to score, but we can't convert the chance to go. But we still go back to and do the best to our guys so that they can improve in scoring chances. And meanwhile, we are going away, it's going to be a tough game, and we are going to do our best, as I said.
Yes, we were told we are playing against one of the best teams in Nigeria, which is Nasarawa Amazons, and their coach is also under 20 coach. So we were prepared for the match. We came all out. We planned to win, but it was not a bad game after all. I tried to make some assists, but it didn't work out. But we are going to make some amends in our mistakes, so it's not a bad game. The plan is to get to Super 6 this season, and we are going all out for it.
Yeah, a good one coming from the players. I mean, it's something remarkable, especially when you're just getting into the team and you get to play against a coach who has produced so many star players. I'm talking about Christopher Danjuma. Most of the stars you see passed through the under-20 set, brought them up, and then most of them are now stars with the Super Falcons of Nigeria. All right, let's leave the NWFL, the Premiership, and of course, go straight to Europe. Now, first we start off with the teams that have booked their spots in the knockout round of the UEFA Champions League before we talk about the key games that happened last night. Let's just take a look at these teams that have already booked their spot with a game to spare. Manchester City, they are there. Barcelona, of course. RB Leipzig is also booked a spot for the round of 16. Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich, I mean, as far as back as the last game they played, they've already booked a spot. Atletico Madrid also booking a spot. Real Madrid maintained that 100% record. Lazio also in it. Real Sociedad, Arsenal, of course, a 6-star performance. How do you 6-star performance? Yeah, like that. Inter Milan and PSG Eindhoven. These are the teams that make it through to the round of 16. We still have one more round matches to play. Of course, that's why we'll be delving into some of these games, especially starting with the game between Manchester United and Galatasaray. How they were able to blow a 2-0 lead twice to draw 3-3. They needed a win to stand a chance. Now they are on the brink of exiting the stage. All they need to do, yes, they can just beat Bayern and then they will be in the round of 16. But can they do that? Because that is the big question. Can Manchester United beat Bayern to book a spot in the Champions League, or maybe end up in a knockout round, or end up in a Europa League sports?
Exactly, because even beating Bayern is not a guarantee. If they beat Bayern and either of those guys, Copenhagen and Galatasaray beat themselves, United will finish third in that group. They shot themselves in the foot. Against Copenhagen in the last round, they led 2-0. They lost that game. Yesterday against Galatasaray, they led 2-0. Galatasaray pulled one back. A needless foul from Bruno and poor goalkeeping from Onana. Oh yeah, they got the third goal, scored McTominay. Okay, now we are back in the lead. They 2 more goals, and the second goal, another terrible goalkeeping from Onana. Then the third goal, people say you can't blame Beautiful. No, his starting position from the third goal is what killed him as well. Too many things. I think he needs to get to the AFCON ASAP. Maybe that can help him gather himself. But on the flip side, he's been having problems with the coach of Cameroon. What's the guarantee that when he comes, if he comes, he'll get to play?
Or maybe the coach can just drop him and then I don't even know who is it. Because
you know, sometimes
the option that they
that feeling of I need to defend my decision. So hopefully one day he will get it.
Until he lost his job, right? Because I don't know how long.
Yesterday was bad for United.
Yeah, it was
very bad for them.
2 goalkeeping errors.
Bayern.
No chance. All right, let's Austin. Maybe you can chip in on this one before we listen to Eric Ten Hag. Yeah.
Still, you know, yesterday, when I was watching this game between Galatasaray and Manchester United, I was asking myself one question. I said, football, when are we going to know you? Who are you? Because when you think you know football, how in this world did Manchester United not win in Istanbul last night? How did they make it slip twice, 2-goal lead? How did they make it happen? Why is it that on a crucial night, Bruno Fernandes, that has been a fantastic captain, will make such an error? And Onana, who has been so slippery on the night, and lately, to be fair, he has been putting up some good performances in the league. And on the night when he's needed to give his best, he was so slippery. You see, when you play in Europe, you cannot be conceding soft goals. It's unacceptable. And that's why when you look at the teams that have already qualified, you see a team as Leipzig, Real Sociedad, and Manchester United. They are struggling at the bottom of Group A in a group that's got Galatasaray and FC Copenhagen. It's tough, you know, because I look at this Manchester United team and I really just can't understand what's wrong with them. Ten Hag is now stuttering each time he's talking to the media. The fans in the United Kingdom, they are furious. One section of the fans wants the Glazers family out. Another part wants the players that are not performing to leave. Then there's this one in the middle that is just saying that Ten Hag should go. But what is important is Manchester United need to pick themselves back up. And at the moment, I don't see how they're going to do that, because Copenhagen did just enough to get a draw in Germany against Bayern Munich, and that puts them and Galatasaray on 5 points. And I don't see, even if they win, as Bolu said, either Galatasaray or Copenhagen, if they win, they are going to advance. Let's listen to Ten Hag. I feel for him. He's been trying to explain what's been going on with the team. Let's listen to him.
When you are leading, when you are 2-0 up, and then you have to manage the game, and not so easily. Give free kicks away. then defend the free kicks, of course, better, because there were twice, but also I have to say that is Hakim, his brilliance. I know that in such zones he's extraordinary. To give such free kicks, it's very difficult to defend as well. I take many positives of this game. At some stage we play like I wanted my team to play. It was enjoyable to watch them, and so proactive, dynamic, and brave, and we scored great goals. And even after we had some setbacks, we kept going till the end, because in the end we should have won as well, with the big chances from Scott McTominay and Pellistri. So yeah, of course I'm disappointed, because we should have managed the game better. It's not about an individual, and of course individual in football will make difference, and we have to take responsibility for it, but yeah, but it's always about team, and this team is good. All the players in the squad are good and deserve the best to play for Man United, because they are brilliant players, and that counts for the whole squad. It would be more frustrating if we play poor, but the performance is very good, and it's enjoyable to watch how we dictating game, how we creating the chances. That is actually fantastic. But now we have, and it's more, you can sort better the management of the game out, then you start playing football.
Bolu, it said a lot of things, but there were just two lines that were very clear. It says he's disappointed and that the situation is frustrating.
He has to be disappointed. He has to be frustrated. Bruno Fernandes scored one of the goals of the UEFA Champions League so far this season. Garnacho moved on from where he left off in the Premier League with another good goal. Scott McTominay scored, but like you rightly said, how do you explain what happened yesterday? But one thing is certain, I said all the time, football is 90 minutes. Until the final whistle, football is not, the first 5 minutes, not the first, you can score 5-0. And still end up drawing. You can lead 4. At least I remember Arsenal Newcastle leading 4-0 and still did not win. So it is what happened. Sometimes your mind needs to be on the field. For example, 2-1 up, 2-0 up, considered one before first half. What did you say to the players? How do you motivate these guys coming up? Then 2-1. I remember, was it Sabitzer that said at one time that Mourinho told him to give instruction to his teammate? He was shocked that I don't play for you, but he delivered the message and they got the goal. Sometimes you need to be dramatic. Sometimes you need to take drastic measures. A player, for example, Ten Hag feels like he fights everybody in the squad. How do you justify not starting Verde in your squad? He will give you 1 or 2 reasons. He had issues with Sancho and he still kept on playing Anthony. So it's been 1 or 2 issues. But in the end, players don't leave the clubs. If he doesn't find a solution now, he may be the one to leave his job very soon.
He needs to leave because United has not improved at all. But let's just take a look at other games that happened on last night. We talked about Real Madrid, and we said Sergio Ramos. 16 times he has scored in the Champions League. He's a defender. But you look at this player. I mean, we mentioned Daniel Amokachi scoring the very first goal, in the Champions League. That was 1992 for Club Brugge. And Sergio Ramos scoring the 10,000th goal for Sevilla. But then Sevilla, they are out. But we'll take history from here because that's remarkable for Sergio Ramos. We know him to be at Real Madrid, PSG, and now went back to Sevilla, where it all started. Okay, yeah, we're looking at Real Madrid and Napoli. That's the game we're looking at right now, the pictures we're seeing. Jude Bellingham becoming the first player, to actually score in each of the first 4 Champions League appearances for Real Madrid. 16 goals, 15 goals in 16 appearances. That guy is something else.
And it's a midfielder. Even Ronaldo and Di Stefano didn't get those numbers. Ronaldo got 13 goals in 15 games. Same thing with Di Stefano. But this is Jude Bellingham. He got 14 in 15. Now he's got 15 in 16. The boy just can't keep scoring. And the formation Real Madrid play now pays him more. He plays like a pivot for a midfield 4, just like Ancelotti did with Kaká at AC Milan. Then when the guys up front go wide, Jude Bellingham has the luxury to go forward. So he will definitely not keep scoring because he's a midfielder. But he's had a great start. He's probably scored more goals this season than almost every British has played for Madrid. I'm sure by the end of the season, you have more goals than every British player that played for Real Madrid, of course, except Gary Bale. So good start from good season. Lots of record-breaking grounds yesterday himself, like you rightly said. Arsenal, Ramos got even Sevilla. They were 2-0 up. That was finally Sevilla winning the game. They got the red card. Silly moment from Ocampos. Then everything turned upside down. They ended up losing the game at home. Even their beloved Europa League, as it stands, I don't think they are making it there. But
no, they've exited.
Completely out of the tournament. So now I like that the teams in the round of 16 are spread across different countries. Spain have 3 for now. Italy have 2. England with 2. Germany have 3. France may have 1. We don't know what's going on. So it means the round of 16, like it normally does, is definitely going to be a feisty encounter. It
is a feisty encounter. If we have time, we'll quickly just run through results coming from Europa League. Austin, anything coming from you on the Champions League, especially the 5-star performance from Arsenal? Arsenal. Six
were fantastic last night. 6 goals from 6 different players. At half time was already 5-0. That's how to get the job done. They were focused on going to the top and sealing qualification into the round of 16. Mikel Arteta and his team, they showed that they understood the mission and they went out there and executed it just fine. Congratulations to Gunners all over the world. I'm sure now they're beaming with confidence. But hey, let's wait and see. There's still so much to go.
Yes, so much to go. I'll just quickly run through the results that have been concluded in the Europa League before we leave the show. IUK Anthems and Brighton. It was Brighton that won by a lone goal away from home right there in Greece. Atalanta and Sporting ended 1-0. Freiburg and Olympiacos 5-0. That's a goal first. And Maccabi Haifa and Rennes, it ended 3-0 in favor of the away team. As Sparta Prague and Betis, Real Betis was 1-0. Sturm Graz and Rakov ended Rakov winning by a lone goal, and TSC and West Ham going away from home to get that result. Of course, that's where we leave it tonight on the show. Austin, you have to go.
Yeah, Cecilia, you talked about some records that were made in UEFA Champions League. You mentioned Sergio Ramos, you mentioned Jude Bellingham. Let's also mention Alexander Isak. That game between PSG and Newcastle ended 1-1 on Tuesday, but Isak became the first player to score an away goal for Newcastle since Alan Shearer in 2003. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonak, and in everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Bolu, nice doing this with you again.
Definitely good to be here every time.
All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night's rest.